Joining me now is Maharashtra's face, some say for the future, the minister in the government, environment and climate change, his new designation, Aditya Thackeray, joins me. Appreciate your joining us, Aditya, on the show. I want to start by asking you this. Is the glass for you at the moment half full, as you saw there in the Dharavi story, or is it half empty? Because the number of cases in Mumbai, 97 deaths and 149 today in Maharashtra in the last 24 hours. So how do you see it? Half full or half empty?
I think what is more crucial is what is in the glass. As long as it's not poison, it's all good for us. Because finally, you have to keep working. And, when this whole thing was going on, when cases started rising, be it G South, be it G North, that is Worli or Dharavi. Of course, we used to see some of your reports, some of the media reports, and it was really scary in terms of projections. But for us, we had no choice. We couldn't be scared. We were right in the middle of it. And we have to keep working. So even though it's stabilized right now with the efforts of, every BMC person, every officer, every police officer, and citizens, of course, we've seen around the world that there's a trend of going up, going down, going up, going down. We have to keep working and ensure that this trend remains. Even today, we've had 10 cases. Yesterday was about 14 cases. 2 digits is fine. We've got to chase the virus. So that's what we are aggressively doing.
You're saying chase the virus. What we are seeing is that cases are now doubling every 23 to 24 days, which is the good news. But as I said, the bad news, Aditya Thackeray, is that if you look at the total number of cases, Mumbai alone has crossed Wuhan in China. And the number of deaths in Maharashtra for the last 10 days have been in triple digits virtually every day in the month of June. So in a sense, would you say that the challenge is still very much there? It is a big challenge even now for Mumbai and Maharashtra.
Absolutely. We've got to be humble about it. Even though our figures in crucial areas like Dharavi or Worli or, any other place, Malegaon be it, have remained, they've dipped a little. It looks on the positive side of being negative. But the challenge still remains, and not just for Maharashtra or for India, globally, because, we can keep pushing our doubling days, and that's all we can do right now. But we've got to chase the virus. There is a virus that still exists around the world. And, whenever we speak to other governments, other doctors from around the world, everyone is still more or less shooting in the dark. We have to keep managing the doubling days. And I think that is what yesterday it was 23 days. Dharavi is 42 days. And, this completely depends on the work we keep doing. So more than us as per se, it's our ground level teams that are going into every house with the pulse oximeter, with the temperature check, running fever screens. All of that, I think that is what is going to really help us and probably anywhere else around the world.
What's been the biggest challenge in a city like Mumbai, a city of almost 2 crore people, highly congested? What's been the biggest challenge for the government of Maharashtra, indeed for you and other MLAs, to deal with coronavirus in a city like Mumbai?
I think more than a challenge, of course, it's one thing that when we compare Mumbai, and I've been reading a lot of articles comparing Mumbai to Moscow, Sao Paulo, New York, because of the population density, the scale of the city, the number of international travelers that we have. But I think more or less, if you see Mumbai, it cannot be compared to any other city in the world just by the fact that you've seen Mumbai very closely. And we have community toilets even today in many chawls, in many housing complexes or slums. We have, families which are large, really about 15 people, 20 people living in smaller homes, sharing toilets, sharing rooms. I think that is where the transmission could really effectively happen. So how do we chase the virus with the new policy and yet contain it? I think that is very crucial. The amount of people that we're taking into quarantine, we have to create huge number of quarantine facilities. That is CC1 apart from CC2, because for every case that you trace, you've got to take about 15 people into quarantine. And that is where the big challenge lies in terms of population to the infrastructure. And that's why we've gone into modular facilities as well.
You've done some facilities like the one at NSCI, the dome that you set up, which is like a COVID makeshift COVID care center in a way that you set up in the heart of Mumbai. And there are other grounds that have been taken over also. But does that somewhere also reveal perhaps the fact that for the last several decades, Mumbai did not invest enough in public health infrastructure? The Shiv Sena, your party, was in charge in Mumbai of the BMC for several years, that you didn't invest enough, and now the chickens have come home to roost, which is why you're having to now do these last ditch solutions to keep in the COVID fight.
Rajdeep, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, counter questions to this. You've seen cities around the world, countries around the world, be it Italy, be it a city like New York, be it London, be it Spain. They have great healthcare facilities as well. But at the end, in front of COVID, everyone has collapsed. Everyone's been helpless. Shiv Sena never ruled there. So the point being, if you look at Mumbai, right, in the last 25 years, our healthcare expenditure has roughly been about 3,500 crores. Most of the services are free to everyone across India or Asia, whoever comes here for treatment. Most of the services are free. We've got more than 11,500 beds, or more than that actually. We've got the duty of a municipal corporation is actually primary healthcare. We've got super specialty hospitals, we've got specialty hospitals, we've got tertiary, we've got secondary healthcare, we've got maternity homes, we've got 16 peripheral hospitals, we've got medical colleges in the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, we've got more than about, like I said, 10,000 beds. So in that sense, yes, the scale is large, but if you compare it to COVID, let me admit to you that no city in the world will ever have enough equipment when you come to something like a pandemic, because a pandemic is of a global scale. So all of us will fail and falter in terms of a pandemic, but as long as we keep working towards it as cities, as municipal corporations, as state governments or central governments, we have to admit that wherever there is a gap, we have to keep filling it for any country in the world.
The reason I'm asking you this, I had Milind Deora on my show a few days ago, the former Mumbai Congress MP, and he said, look, the BMC has been seen as a notoriously corrupt body, an inefficient body. They can't even get the roads right before the monsoon. Now you expect them to fight COVID. Do you believe somewhere, therefore, the mindset needs to change of the municipal authorities, of local authorities?
We've been saying this in terms of roads, be it water, be it everything. We have multiple agencies, 16 agencies running Mumbai, be it Railways, Airport Authority,
That's right.
BPT. While we do that, BMC and every other agency has been doing a lot of work. Milind is a good friend of mine, but of late he's not been in politics. So whenever I catch up with him, I'll be explaining to him what all everything is, what all is going on in the city.
No, that I take, but do you concede that, there has been corruption in the past, and therefore the efforts that are in the future, if I were to look tomorrow as a lesson for the future, I'm not saying that there was a pandemic, but do you believe one? Go ahead.
No, if I were to tell you everything goes well overnight, I would be lying to myself as well as to you. It takes time to run and develop a city like Mumbai or any other scale. Having said that, every corporate house, every big industry, every big person, or every person who has a dream comes to Mumbai. And the civic infrastructure in every country will always be, falling short as the population increases, as time demands, as things change. But we have been up to it.
You say you've been up to it. There have been two views in Maharashtra. One is that that your father Uddhav Thackeray has shown a very calm, reassuring presence, the ability to listen to people and thereby work in this coalition arrangement. The other view is that he's inexperienced, or you are inexperienced, the government is inexperienced, and therefore the bureaucrats are running Maharashtra. Which is the correct view?
There are two views, and both the views are right. One is, of course, we are calm, we are composed. We have been taking this head on, chasing the virus aggressively, taking this health system to a newer level. We have stronger partners with Mr. Rajesh Tope, the health minister, going full out as a health minister. There's Mr. Amit Deshmukh, who's been the medical education minister. He's been supporting the effort. So both these departments, along with the chief minister and every minister, guardian minister, every MLA, has been really working day in and day out. Apart from that, yes, every government will have bureaucrats. Most of the bureaucrats are very, very efficient. They are very aggressive at work. They do good stuff, and they have kept the nation neutral and pretty much on track. When it's a two-way thing. When politicians falter, it's the bureaucrats who take care. When bureaucrats may go here and there, there's a political system in place. So I think we have to take everyone on board. We have to take the advice, experience of the bureaucrats along with this. And when we go fine, when we go in a very calm way, composed way, when everyone's doing their work, it may be alleged that the bureaucrats are working, but it is their job to work, and it is our job to be working as well. So there's nothing wrong in trusting anyone, but everyone's been working.
The reason I ask you this is, again, someone I interviewed a week or so ago was Devendra Fadnavis, the former chief minister, and he was very critical, naturally, saying that,
Shiv Sena... naturally in that. That means even you expect the criticism.
Yeah, no, sure. He's an opposition member. My point is, has politics in a way hampered the entire process of getting Mumbai on track? The fact is that, Maharashtra has seen very, very polarized politics in recent times.
No, but Rajiv, there's one thing for sure. Basically, politics has hampered the media and social media narrative because there's a lot of these, troll armies and stuff like that. But nowhere has it hampered COVID response. We have been going aggressively behind the virus, very calmly at the same time. All of us, we know what each other is doing. We know what we're supposed to focus on. Unfortunately, the state unit of the BJP is probably the only political unit in the world that is engaging in politics even today because of the greed and indigestion of one fact that they've been out of power. And if they're indulging in such politics today, I don't know what to say to them. So obviously we expect criticism from them. We expected better of them, but we've seen the worst and we've seen the best.
I don't want to get into the politics beyond the point today. I want to focus on this fight against Corona, Aditya Thackeray, because Maharashtra and Mumbai is really the key, the commercial capital, the center of the country. Now, there is one view that Sharad Pawar and others want, or there are those who want Mumbai to open up much faster, including Mr. Pawar, because it is the industrial capital. There is also a belief that your father is in particular more conservative. He feels we have to save lives. This balance between lives and livelihoods. How big a challenge is that going to be to open up Mumbai, to open up local transport, for example? Is this going to be a long, drawn-out fight, you believe?
Rajdeep, even if you tweet to me the salons, I think that is something we can always speak about. But apart from that, I think, more importantly, it is about lives versus livelihoods. I completely understand, and we are opening up. We've started with the mission Begin Again. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, when we do that, today when Delhi and other cities and states opened up, or any other country in the world, there are fluctuations that have happened where you open up and you have to go into lockdown, you have to be careful while opening up, shutting down. These are things that are naturally going to happen because when we say how to live in a post-COVID world, we don't even know what post-COVID world is and when it will come. Today we're still living in a COVID world. Mm-hmm. While opening up, it will be painfully slow, it will be staggered, it will be measured. All of us in the political fraternity believe that it has to be life over livelihood because as a government, our responsibility today is to save lives first. We have to ensure that as few people, rather nobody really goes to a deathbed because of Corona. And we have to ensure that that is where we're working. If you see whatever we've opened up is being opened up in a very careful way, in a very measured way. It's going to be probably painfully slow. We all understand that. We've got a lot of feedback from the people about opening up, closing down. We are all measuring that and moving ahead.
Because you say, your plan is to begin again. That's the slogan that you've given, getting Mumbai in a way back on track. But the fact is, how do you open up without, let's say, the local commuter trains, which are the heart of Mumbai, without the BST buses running at full capacity? Isn't that going to be a big challenge for you to get the transport services back on track? How soon can Mumbaikars expect that, given the fact that the monsoon is only a few days away?
You've hit the nail on the head because when we speak about Mumbai, there are two important lifelines. One is the BEST, which has been running about 2,500 buses for the people, 10% of the offices that have started. Whereas the other side is the local railways. And we have said this many times that for us in Mumbai, we've communicated this to the center that we really need the local railways to be starting for essential service workers. So when we transfer our policemen and women, our nurses, our medical staff, our doctors that are currently being ferried on by a BST bus onto a local railway, we'll shift the entire population of essential staff onto the railways, plus the stations further, way, be it Vasai, Virar, Nalasopara, Kalyan, Dombiri, all of them, the essential staff would come full capacity because they have a railway to use. Today, the BST cannot cater to all of them because it's an hour, 2 hours away. So that is really essential. Apart from that, I think Begin Again is slowly on its path to, grow bigger as we go into carefully measured, staggered opening up.
You're saying measured, staggered opening up. Are you saying, therefore, because the lockdown, as of now, many of the rules are in place till the end of June. Do you see by July, are you hopeful that trains will open up, that, you will... Is there any turning back? The worry is, and some countries have had to do it, or cities, that you have a lockdown, open up, and then again have a lockdown. Do you see now Mumbai moving in the direction of opening up, is, as you said, in a staggered manner, that by July, we can expect the trains to be back on track? Is that what the government would like to see?
We, when we came into government, of course, we have dreams as a state to grow and develop. This Corona has been a little pause moment for all of us in terms of development, but nonetheless, we are all focusing on COVID response right now. As we begin our opening up or begin again, in a measured way, I can only remind you of how we went into a lockdown. The Chief Minister started getting into, getting the state into a lockdown from about 8th or 9th of March, 15th of March, 18th of March, and then we went into a full curfew and a lockdown from 24th March after the Prime Minister declared so. We've always believed that a lockdown or an opening up cannot be a knee-jerk reaction. It cannot be a 24-hour notice or a 4-hour notice. It has to be carefully planned, measured, accounted for. And while we do that, we're also creating a lot of medical buffer. We are adding about 20,000 beds to our field hospitals. Only then do we, realize that we are safer and that we have a medical buffer just in case if the city needs so.
Two concerns. One is that the testing. Mumbai started testing aggressively, tracing aggressively, but in the last month, we've seen it relatively plateau at about 4,000, 4,500 tests a day. In fact, the rest of Maharashtra is seeing an increase in testing. Why is that? Is it that some governments, possibly including yours, are worried that the more you test, there'll be more cases? As the numbers rise, the pressure grows on a government. Are you all now reluctant to test as aggressively as you were when you started off in March, April?
Not really. There are a couple of reasons. In fact, if you see per million, we're still the highest as Maharashtra and as Mumbai also. But going beyond that, we've come to a point where we have stopped really even looking at the numbers because we know that the numbers will rise as much as we test. And that's a good thing because, normally in an epidemic or a pandemic, the numbers are penalized by popular narratives. But if you see medically, if you see scientifically, whenever you have a larger number, by a government, notified that these are the numbers that we have in our state, it is not the amount of infection that really exists. There might be more, there might be, even further than that. Most states wouldn't even know how much they have. But when you have a higher number, it only means that your government, your officers, your bureaucracy, your political system, your testing system, your doctors have been really successful in identifying more numbers of people who have had the virus. The higher the number is actually you have contained the spread by so many people by getting them into quarantine or isolation. So we're proud of the fact.
So no instructions. So no instructions have been given by the state government to the officers that don't test more.
No, in fact, on the contrary, the municipal commissioner has changed one guideline from the ICMR. The ICMR guideline had said between 5 to 10 days is what you must do for asymptomatic high-risk group contacts. We have said probably go and do it immediately, and whoever wants to get a test done can do it. The only protocol we've set for the labs is chew as much as you can swallow. The tests you do have to be given as a result within 24 hours. You cannot delay it more than that. So probably that is where the test capacity of processing it is now being increased.
You've said you've got enough beds. The worry, of course, though, is that many private hospitals, as of now, many private hospitals have not got as involved as they should have perhaps in this COVID fight. I know now that you have capped the pricing in certain hospitals, but there are reports of not enough doctors and health workers available on hand and a lot of pressure, therefore, on 3 or 4 municipal hospitals to carry forward this fight. Do you believe that private hospitals need to do much more at the moment? Health workers, private doctors need to do much more in a city like Mumbai?
Finally, this is a war, and we will always have to believe that they can always contribute more and add more to this, war. Having said that, looking at the entire situation, yes, the municipal corporation of Mumbai, of Thane, of Nasik, all of these places done exceptionally well in terms of offering the services to the people. When we talk about private hospitals, yes, we are pushing them for more. We are pushing them to the limits that we can really. But again, there is also the other limitations of having effective staff or doctors or medical staff. And more or less everyone goes into quarantine, comes out of it, so there's a lot of complications that are going on in terms of that. Staff is not being able to report because of local trains not being there. Some of them, there is a fear, which is most natural. Having said that, everyone is giving their best. All doctors, all medical staff, they have been cooperating, helping us in this war. Finally, it's a war that they are fighting at the front lines. All we can do as governments is to support them, and everything that they are possibly asking for, we are doing that.
Sure, because you've had deputy municipal commissioners who've tragically, or assistant municipal commissioners who've lost their lives, police officers who've lost their lives. So clearly there's an atmosphere of fear. How do you remove that fear? How difficult has that been for you, even with your own workers, talking to them, to convince them to go out there in a city like Mumbai, to be there on ground zero, working with people? Has that been a big challenge also to remove the fear factor?
We believe in the spirit of Mumbai, and that has been actually pushing the city from the brink of a pandemic to at least a recovery right now. But there are these stories. I speak to all my ward officers in the city of Mumbai almost every single day. I speak to a lot of DCPs every day. More than a physical or mental fatigue, it's come to a point where they haven't seen their families for a long, long time. They've been out of their homes, isolating themselves from their families, away from their families, because they work in situations that are so difficult for 2.5 months now, since probably March. Some of them have, wives who are due for birth. Some of them have elderly parents. Some of them have families facing health emergencies, and they have not been able to see their faces. So when you speak to them, of course, all you can do more than pump up the spirit, because, we go on their spirit. All you can do is just tell them, this is going to end at some point and we're going to see a better world after this. So that hope and that spirit of Mumbai is what we're going on ahead.
Because
but otherwise,
it's not just Mumbai, it's now spread to other parts of Maharashtra. The worry is the numbers are increasing even in other parts of Maharashtra. When you see every night, let's say on my show, Maharashtra is number 1 in the number of corona cases. Mumbai has crossed Wuhan. When you see all these numbers, does it frighten you all, intimidate you all, or is it something that you believe you've just got to learn to live with and just try the best to reduce mortality rates?
No, when there's a pandemic, you know that the infection already exists. When you see higher numbers, a city is doing really well in tracing the cases, isolating the cases, containing them, identifying them, containing the spread. So you know that an officer is on the right track when he's actually getting more cases, and after he peaks, the cases actually start dropping. But if there are no cases at all, it sort of worries me nowadays, because then it means that is something right or is something wrong out there?
Let me ask you in conclusion, for you and in a way your father, it's been a trial by fire. You all came into power in November. Perhaps no one at that stage expected you all to come into power. But in these last 7 months, you've had to face corona, you've had to face political, some element of political chaos, a cyclone last week. I mean, how difficult at a person, have you grown up completely? How has Aditya Thackeray changed in the last 6-7 months?
I'm trying not to change because, my father and chief minister has told me the moment you start changing, it means that it's a different you from the people that elected you. So don't change. But otherwise, we've seen almost everything from political drama to, the protests against CA, NRC without a single riot in Maharashtra, the crop loan waiver that has been successfully given to all the farmers that have been given out till now, COVID, cyclone, God knows what all. So we're all prepared for that. All you have to do is keep calm and carry on. That's the popular line everywhere now.
Does Mr. Uddhav Thackeray get sleepless nights? He was seen as the accidental chief minister. Now people are saying that, he's really warmed up to the task. Are you still also an accidental politician, or are you fully, in a way, involved in the fight? When I see you, I remember your grandfather, who I interviewed way back in 1988. So, it ages me. So I'm just trying to understand from you, Aditya, are you now a full-time 24/7 politician?
If you've not noticed already, I've added the G in front of your name, because I remember our interview when you were doing Follow the Leader. I was 14 years old, and now at 29 point something, just 3 days short of 30, you're interviewing me. And, I wouldn't say you've aged, because our cricket discussions can always go on. So that is there, but I love what I do. It's a privilege to be serving. And in times of crisis, all the more that you can really do something that really matters. I think that's a privilege to be serving.
I want to tell our viewers one story before we end. The Ghanaian footballer, I carried this story a few days ago. A man who was stuck in Mumbai in the lockdown for 2 months at the airport, helped first by the CISF. Then you heard his story and you decided to help him. The Shiv Sena pitched in. Do you believe, therefore, that is now important, that you need an element of community service? That is what this fight is going to be about in cities like Mumbai. It can't be just fought by the politicians or even the doctors. It has to be fought by communities.
No, it has genuinely been phenomenal. And while fighting a pandemic like this, we have to give up all the identity tags that we put onto ourselves, all the labels that we put onto ourselves, be it profession, language, region, religion, country, because the world is facing a crisis that has never been so severe for the human race before. And when we face this, normally what I do is there is a whole team that is up and awake with me at night, because normally between 1:30 to 5:30 in the morning, you have cases that are suddenly helpless, breathless, wanting some solace, some comfort, an ambulance probably, or a bed. So We've got this, a group of friends, plus a lot of corporates, plus a lot of NGOs, officers who've gone beyond the call of duty, being up and helping people. When we say we're the system, all of us as people are a system, a part of the system. So, everyone, the media, everyone's gone beyond the Call of Duty. Even this, the story of the footballer from Ghana, it was pointed out to me by this one good soul called Abha on Twitter. And that's when we realized that this is happening. So, we just reached out. I think all of us are doing our best.
So basically, if someone has a problem in Mumbai, they can reach out to Aditya Thackeray on Twitter. And if they have a genuine concern, you will address it. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. You're beautiful.
That's good to hear, Aditya Thackeray. It's good to have you, a young, articulate politician. As I said, I remember your grandfather well, and you're right. All those years ago, you were all that little, and you've grown up. You're going to be 30 in a few days, so happy birthday in advance. But more importantly, Mumbai needs today a calm, reassuring presence. I hope you can provide that, and the Shiv Sena and indeed your government can work today to get those numbers down.
One thing I've really seen about the Chief Minister in all these years while he was controlling the BMC also, it's, he doesn't show on the face that he's actually into governance and everything, but he actually gives it his best when he's in crisis mode and helping people. So I think more than accident, it was a great coincidence that he's supposed to be in the place to help and serve the people. And, that's what it takes to lead, I guess.
So you've given us a headline. Instead of the accidental chief minister, he will now be called the coincidental chief minister, right?
So everyone who's been termed as accidental is now being praised in hindsight.
Okay, good. Good to hear that, Aditya Thackeray. I wish you well and wish the entire team in Maharashtra, cutting across the political class and indeed the city of Mumbai, my city, which I miss greatly, all the very best in this fight against Corona. It's far from over. And therefore, you still have many, many days ahead. Thanks very much for joining me here, Aditya Thackeray there on perhaps his most candid interview, the first time you're seeing the emergence of Aditya Thackeray, the politician.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.